Emerging from slumber's embrace, like surfacing from a tranquil summer pool, I awaken slowly. The clock remains unseen. I know it's early, before dawn's first light. I linger in that peaceful interlude between sleep and waking, my mind adrift, unfocused, lazily stretching. The warmth of a familiar body beside me registers, the faint scent of yesterday's shampoo, a lingering whisper of last night's intimacy. Her soft snores, steady and calming, tell me she still journeys through Morpheus's dreamscapes. I hope I'm a part of them. The woman beside me is my world, the love of my life, my partner through every trial and triumph. Vivian. Even in this half-awake state, my heart overflows with love for her. It's as constant as the sunrise, as powerful as the ocean's tide. Overwhelmed by a love beyond words, I gently tighten my arm around her, holding her close in the quiet morning. Her breathing suggests a half-awakened state, pure sensation, her mind not yet clouded by rational thought. I love you, I whisper, the sentiment feeling inadequate, yet they're the only words I possess. I've never been a romantic. I love you too, she murmurs back, her voice filled with genuine affection. I groan and reluctantly roll off her. I crave her closeness always, but life intervenes. The clock reveals it's barely 7 a.m. One of her rare days off from her nursing shift at the local hospital. Yesterday evening, we planned a busy day with the children. Parenthood never sleeps, I suppose. We better get up and make breakfast, I say. I suppose, she replies, yawning and stretching like a contented feline, then burying her face in the pillow. But I don't want to. I know, but they'll be in here any minute, bouncing and yelling, I say, smiling. She sighs, slowly sitting up, rubbing her small, strong hands across her face. Yes, I guess they will. Let's get the shower going. Sure, I say. I reach over, stroking her tousled hair affectionately. She looks utterly adorable in the morning. I slip into a bathrobe and head to the bathroom. After attending to my needs, I turn on the shower. It roars to life, reminding me to check those valves, a perpetually postponed project. I adjust the temperature to her preference, gently nudging a curious cat aside, and turn to find her standing in the doorway, a smile playing on her lips, a smile I don't quite comprehend. I just like the way you move, she says, inexplicably. She's always doing that, making odd, cryptic remarks. It's just her, like the dimple in her chin. We step into the shower. There's no time for leisurely play. The day demands attention to our rambunctious brood and the never-ending house renovation. We wash each other, our years of intimacy undiminished. Over the rushing water, I hear footsteps and childish voices as the children scamper down the hall. What's on the agenda today? I ask after showering. What's the weather like? She hands me a towel, then dries her wet hair. According to last night's forecast, it's supposed to be clear today, high around 60. Not bad for late September, I say. How about we start winterizing the garden, then grill supper? Sounds good. I'll get out some steaks, burgers, and hot dogs for the kids. Better make it chicken. You know how Clara loves your barbecued chicken. She smiles. I do have a chicken that's not working too hard, I muse. Well, then get it off its lazy tail and put it to work, she says, brushing her short hair, a style I've never quite loved, wishing it were longer, but she's adamant. Perhaps I'd better. No freeloaders in this house, I say. I'll see you downstairs. I pull on sweatpants and a t-shirt, heading downstairs. The television greets me. Clara, 8, and Ben, 11, are folding laundry on the floor. They're good kids, mostly. Ben's father died in an accident shortly after his birth. Vivian told me she wasn't heartbroken. He'd been a loser. Then why the hell did you sleep with him? I'd asked. She shrugged. I was lonely. There wasn't much to say to that. Clara's father didn't die, but admitted he couldn't handle fatherhood. He visited occasionally and sent child support somewhat regularly. During his visits, I made myself scarce, not out of fear, but discomfort at being near another man who'd been with my wife. Irrational, I know, but I can't help it. What do you guys want for breakfast? I call out. Pancakes, they cry in unison. Yeah, Dan, you make the best ones, Vivian says, now in an old scrub top and jeans. I pretend to groan. I see how it is. I'm just a domestic slave. Ben pretends to crack a whip. Better hop to it, or Mom will lock you in the shed. He smirks. I chuckle and head to the kitchen, Vivian on my heels. 2 hours later, we're all in the garden, harvesting the last tomatoes and peppers. We'll turn the soil, cover it with straw and compost for winter, ready for spring planting. It's a crisp, clear day, around 55 degrees, a drastic change from last week's 90-degree days and 70-degree nights. Minnesota weather's bipolar, almost as much as Colorado's mountains. Dan, any idea where the canning pot is? Vivian calls from across the garden, crouched among herbs. Last I saw it was a couple months ago in the garage, I reply. Ben and Clara approach, lugging buckets of tomatoes. Where do you want these? Over there by the shed, I say. Gotta get them all washed. This is Vivian and the kids' first real garden, so I'm mostly directing them. Technically, it's my first garden too, but I've worked in several before. I found a slug on one of the plants, Clara says, shuddering. I didn't get any tomatoes off that one. Let me have a look, I say, suppressing a chuckle. Girls and slimy things? Very juvenile of me, but I can't help it. It's that one there, on the last row, she says, pointing and refusing to go near it. I crouch beside the plant. A fat slug oozes lazily over the roots. Where there's one, there are usually more. I inspect the leaves. They're chewed and brown. I squeeze the fruit. They're squishy and yielding, many with holes. I stand, brushing off my hands. No point harvesting from this plant, I call out. I guess some local wildlife wanted alfresco tomatoes before us, Vivian says, standing and stretching. Too bad, but we have a pretty good haul anyway. What the heck are we going to do with all those? Ben asks, amused by the buckets. We're going to turn them into jars of sauce and paste, I tell him. Watch and be amazed. You always amaze me, Vivian says, wrapping an arm around my waist. Gross, Ben and Clara say simultaneously, pretending to gag. Not in front of us, please, Vivian grins, kissing my cheek. Sorry, kids, you just have to cope. You both, they say, running toward the house. I chuckle. You love doing that, don't you? Vivian giggles, her eyes shining. I love you, and they know it. If I can tease them with it, all the better. I shake my head, kissing her. You're incorrigible, but more importantly, I'm yours. She returns the kiss, the autumn breeze playing with her hair. After washing and sorting the tomatoes, it's lunchtime. As I heat leftovers, the phone rings. Vivian answers, returning with a frown. That was your job. They need you this afternoon, she says, unhappy. I work as a line cook at a local bar and grill. They'd promised me the weekend off. Damn, I say. Did they say how long? No, she says, even more unhappy. I don't like this. If we didn't need the money, I sigh. We did need the money. Technically, we shouldn't have bought the house yet. The down payment and moving costs had nearly wiped us out. We used the food bank for 2 weeks until our new jobs paid. We felt the house and 2 acres were worth the struggle. Try to get home as fast as you can. Remember, Clara's dad's coming tomorrow. I suppress a groan. I'd forgotten. Vivian sees it. Dan, don't be that way, she chides gently. Clara needs her dad in her life. I know, but I can't help it. Privately, I wonder what's wrong with me. Am I not a good enough father figure? That other guy just squired and ran, sending money. I'm here every day. I kiss Vivian goodbye and take a quick shower, griping about her seeing Clara's father. It'll only cause friction. I love her like flowers love rain. I want to see her smile always. I've made her cry during our courtship, each tear burning like acid. I want her to be the happy girl I wake up with every day. We've been married a year, and I want many more mornings like this one. At work, my boss, George, informs me a line cook called in sick. I'll cover both days. At least it's just the noon to 5 shift, leaving evenings with Vivian and the kids. I sigh and get to work. Saturdays, especially nice ones, are always busy. Partridge, a few of us are heading to the Lamplighter tonight. Want to bring your wife and have a few drinks? Paul Turner, one of the dishwashers, shouts. I'd like to, but we have plans to take the kids to space aliens, I reply. Check with me next time, though. Got it, old buddy. He claps me on the back. I wash my hands. The kids are always hyper after space aliens. We'll have our work cut out for us calming them down. I clock out an hour early. Brad, my night shift replacement, arrives at 4, muttering about needing to get away from home. See you tomorrow, George calls. Brad nods curtly. I'll be here. You guys have fun, I reply. It's a half-hour walk home. I prefer it, decompressing from the kitchen's noise, switching gears mentally. I don't enjoy the bar and grill. I plan to find a job in law as soon as possible, avoiding student loans. I've been taking classes piecemeal. 10 more credits, and I'll have my associate's degree. I didn't call Vivian about being early. Why would I? It only takes half an hour. I was surprised to find a familiar car in our driveway. Mark Phillips's beat-up Jeep, Clara's father. What's he doing here a day early? My stomach drops as possible answers flit through my mind. Our street is quiet, so I freeze on the porch listening. Only a cat meows. I quietly enter the house. It's warm, smelling of tomato puree. The sounds inaudible from the porch are clear here. Low moans. Like a puppet, I advance to the kitchen. An archway leads to the living room. Its view is only visible from the kitchen entrance. I could have stood in the living room unnoticed. Vivian is on top of Mark, who lies on a blanket pile. The sight sickens me. She's giving another man what should be mine only. He's not using protection. Well now, is this a free show or did I have to pay for tickets? I ask, strolling into the living room. Vivian gasps, trying to cover herself, but I'm on her blanket's corner. What's the matter, dear wife? Didn't I pay enough admission to see you naked? I mock. Dan, calm down, man, Mark says, sitting up, looking ridiculous. I'm calm, man, I sneer. I just want you to know I understand, and I'll be out of here in about an hour. You two, have fun. Oh, and where are the kids? They left to visit the library, Mark says, eyeing me warily. Vivian ignores my question. Why would you want to do a thing like that? I love you, and this doesn't matter. I don't answer. I turn to pack. Why didn't I explode? Why not kick Mark? Because I knew this was coming. Vivian and Mark share a bond we don't have. They have a daughter. Life had been too good. Something had to go wrong. 10 minutes later, my suitcase is packed. I'll get my computer and printer later. I pick up my suitcase and toiletry bag. I stand, looking at the room where Vivian and I had made love this morning. How could she? I'm on the verge of tears, but I fight them back. Downstairs, Vivian waits at the door. Mark's gone. Dan, don't go. I'm really sorry about what you saw, but... Vivian, there's nothing to explain. I understand. You're your own woman. I don't own you. Go have fun. It isn't like that, she cries. Please don't go without letting me explain. For the first time, I feel real anger. Don't play my emotions. You threw away everything. There's no explanation. I push past her and leave. Leaving saddens me, but there's no room for a third person in our relationship, no matter the bond. If my wife says she's mine only, I'll hold her to it. Trust gone, game over. I crash on my coworker Andrew Caldwell's couch. He needed a roommate. It's not luxurious, but it'll do until I find my own place. The divorce is easy. Neither of us can afford lawyers. For $600, we're free. Or at least she is. I feel like I'm giving something up. Mark moved in with Vivian and the kids the week after I left. I get a call from Ben, who doesn't understand why I'm gone. Your mom never got over your sister's dad, I tell him. Sometimes things happen. It's not your mom's fault, or Mark's. I wish you could come home, he says. I almost give in, but the right thing is often the hardest. It's easy to forgive Vivian and go home, but that would be a lie, and I'm not built for that. I see her shadow everywhere. For my self-respect, I can't go back. I wish I could too, Ben, but you guys will be okay. If there are problems, call me. There's a shaky sigh, a muffled sob. I'm going to miss you. Mom's not nearly as happy with Mark as she was with you. The line goes dead. My thoughts are heavy. I can't fix things for her, much as I wish I could. She made her choice. She'll face the consequences. A single day can change a life. Mine's directionless. I'm alone, not because of my decisions, but others. I could bury the past, pretend it didn't happen, but that's a lie. I can only move forward, uncertain, but hopeful. That's all any of us can do. Keep going, one step at a time. Dear listeners, share your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. S.